Yep.
Okay, it is 6:05. Alright, it's 6:05, May 10th, 2022. Our open study session for the Board of Directors of Colorado City Metropolitan District. First of all, welcome everybody. It's nice to see some audience. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is, I was wondering with the board if we can move the meeting, instead of being on the 31st, to the 24th. That way, if you have people going out of town or whatever for Memorial Day, you can do it the week before. Because Memorial Day's 30th. And looking to see if that would work for everybody.
Any discussion? Anybody have a problem with that? Conflict? All right?
No, I don't.
Then I agree, that would be certainly better for me. Okay.
Okay, next, under your yellow section, you have the dam report. There is everything that he came up with this last, like I said, thanks to Bob and another citizen. They went up and they fixed the plume that was out. We're in the process of the pulling of a tree and what was the other thing?
We dug out the 6-inch
Yeah.
drain line, that's dug out now. And we'll probably, hopefully get the 4-inch done tomorrow, just depending on traffic.
Discussion.
Yeah, ETA on the tree?
Hopefully maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll have it back up there and get it done.
And according to this inspection letter, that flume was broke for over a year.
I think it's quite a year
Greg, is it least every year improved?
Yeah. Greg has the floor.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so I don't know, that part really kind of deterred me a little bit, that this has never been brought to the board's attention, and that something that was fixed so easily by Mr. Cook and by a concerned citizen has been like that for, I don't care if it was 6 months. We haven't been doing the tests like we were supposed to. I guess what I'm asking for is if there's any explanation for this.
I know I gave you the report last year in your packet. You should have had it. You didn't. I don't remember. I'll have to go through and see. I'm pretty sure the board was aware of that as to, and as for the flume, I believe that was just an oversight by us. Because they ended up cleaning out, what do you call that? With the barrel with all the weeds in it that were growing.
Yeah, the test hole.
The test holes, we get all of the reports. We've been doing our monthly reports and sending them to Graber. From Graber to Perry, I don't know. It's like in the report that he said we didn't have the emergency manual updated. I did send him that in September, and right after the report, and we got it all together and sent it in. I think he sent me a letter today saying, okay, yeah, I did receive it. So
Can you please CC me on that letter?
sure.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I will.
And so the flume, and I'm learning this stuff as we go along here, but the flume is what we're supposed to do our weekly test at. And if it's been broken for over a year, I don't blame this inspector for being very irate about us not sending. I mean, it's almost like we're ignoring what the state tells us to do. If the state tells us to do something, I think we need to be on it immediately.
And I know we got on it, and I think that was the one thing that just kind of slipped in mind. We did all the other things around it, except for that.
I yield the floor.
Don?
This 6-inch PVC toe drain outfall, muck out downstream channel, so discharge can be measured with bucket and stopwatches. When's the last test that was completed on that?
It'll be done probably tomorrow or Thursday. We just got it mucked out. I did the weir reading this morning, sent that to Graver. Aiden and them got the backhoe in there and got it all mucked out.
Did you send the weir reading to Mr. Perry
No, he's told me to send it to our engineer.
and him? That was in the letter. I spoke to him today, he has not received the last two. So did you do it the week before?
Yes, I did.
But you didn't send it to him?
No, I thought he told me to send it.
It was in the
to-
letter that was written to the manager. This mucked out, how often are you supposed to test that one?
We need to retest it once a week.
So it hasn't been done in how many years?
I've done it before. I can tell you, I wasn't, when Mr. Scheid was here, I don't know what he did. But he took over the dam and now I'm back on, so I don't know. But I have all my records when I was doing it, and that got straightened up.
This gentleman was here approximately 3 weeks ago. It wasn't done then. We haven't done it since then. It's a once a week test. You know, it just appears that nothing gets done and reported back to the state. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Harry?
I think what we need is probably a checklist. Just make up a list after reading this thing and just say, here's the things to be done this week, just have a checklist and just, so they know exactly. I mean, when you go to a restroom at a gas station, the same thing happens, who cleans it? So if we just had a checklist of all the things that need to be done, if it's monthly, bi-weekly, whatever it is, just have it, and then we have the record of it, because I think the whole damn thing, I mean, the dam itself, I've got to say, but that whole thing is, we're working on it, but I think until we get that all back in place,
Okay. I don't disagree. Terry, do you have anything? I do. I agree with you, Harry. I think that's an operational thing. I don't think we should have to instruct the manager to do that. The manager should be doing that. You should have a checklist in place. I look at this dam survey and it angers me. The fact that we have acceptable and not good any place, and we have pours, is just not acceptable. The maintenance and repairs, I talked to Mr. Perry as well. He was really, I think, quite willing to work with us if we work with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, and honestly, it's been going on for too many years, far longer than us. But we have a maintenance and repair schedule here that has 4 specific items. Have any of those been completed? And why haven't we been made aware of that? We should have on your list of emails, when you email something to Mr. Perry, it should be forwarded to the board. We should be aware of what's going on.
Okay.
So back to my question about these maintenance repairs. Of these 4 items, have any of them been completed?
With what Mr. Bailey said is, our last utility director, I handed it over to him and said, these are the things that we need to do on the, yeah. Mr. Bailey did run the parameter tests for little drills on the deal. We did have those.
Yeah, I did those. I did my, last month dam reading.
But-
Greg, if you would let Jim respond.
But what happened is the ball was dropped after he left. And that, I guess, was my fault. I agree. That I should have checked to make sure, Don, that the utility director had done it. But at that point, you know, and that's where we're at now. We're playing catch up. Yeah, we are going to get them all done, and we will take care of it. I know as for the rear, yeah, it was at a bad point. Informing utility director to order one, find one, do whatever we need to do to get it. At that point, he said he couldn't find anybody to make one. He said, well, and that's when I asked Mr. Perry that day, I said, well, who do you know that makes works? And that's when Bob says, well, I think I can fix this. It can be fixed. So from that point on, we are moving forward and trying to get it all completed and work on it.
Some of these things I think are remove the bridge and cottonwood tree, roll clear dams downstream groins to allow good visual inspection for seepage. Has that been done?
Mm-hmm.
6-inch PVC tow drain, has that been done? The flume, now, you just
The
mentioned
muck
that.
out the downstream channel.
Yeah. We're in the process of doing that. We're
Okay.
getting the hole down in there to dig it out and clean it up.
So can we have communication from you
Mm-hmm.
within this next week?
Sure.
That these things are done.
I can get pictures to you as to what we've done and when it's complete.
And the emails that are sent to Graber or Mike Perry should be forwarded to the board.
Okay, we can do that.
Now, on a little side note here, Mr. Cook and I were out on architectural duty stuff, and he pointed out, he knows where all the gopher holes are in Colorado City. We know where there is a weir out on the,
Another Poshell flow.
yes, on the east side of, Road 181. There's no reason you couldn't absorb that weir and move it over here. I'll get with you on that, so as far as, it's not being used, or it's on our property, and we can move that over here.
Okay.
So I'll get with you on that. Okay, anybody else?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing that bothers me about these tests not being done, and Mr. Perry clearly stated that had you have done this, he would have negotiated our water loss. We lost water because we didn't do anything. I yield.
Okay. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, next, utility director, we went through the information Greg gave us last time as to meet our policies and procedures. Yvonne was able to break it down for salary as to hiring, and I put a note as to where we're at financially, what the abilities are to hire somebody for this position.
Discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Cook, go ahead.
I'm gonna leave the main to you and Greg, but I wanted to touch on the numbers that was in there. I just can't put my hand on the document right there, but I know what is in there.
This one.
Oh, yes, yeah, all of that. Dual well, $70,000. That money has been set aside from the money you borrowed. The board has discussed this many, many times. Why is it on this list?
We told you
The board has discussed where the money would come from. So, moving on from there, the other one that really caught my eye was repair of backhoe, $10,000. You just repaired the backhoe for $10,000. Why is it on this list?
that's part of what came in this last month. That's why I put it
But we're
in.
getting this today. That's what I'm saying. These numbers are puff and fluff. These are not correct numbers. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else?
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
So putting this here aside, there were some wording issues that I found on it, but for the most part, I thought that the utility director position here was correct. The only thing that I would ask that be changed is that the new position that I guess I should say I am trying to create, would report directly to the board. So I don't want, it would be, basically they would work directly under the board, report to the board in cooperation with the district manager. And as far as the money's concerned, first of all, we can't afford not to do this because things have turned into, you're just wearing too many hats, quite frankly, and it's not getting done the way it should. It's getting done, but it's not getting done good and timely. And I don't know about the rest of the board members, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't really fault you for that. Because you've got too many hats, way too many hats, for what everything that's expected of this position. So, we gotta come up with the money. And I think we can. We just gotta start looking. But this is something, we've had too many problems, we've had too many write-ups, we lost the foot because we didn't have a good handle on this. That's the reason why we lost that foot, because we don't have a good handle on the situation. We're gonna lose 3 more feet next year if we don't get this under control. So, I appreciate you being concerned with the budget, I am too. But we gotta find the money to do this because we gotta fix this problem. I yield.
Mr. Oxelder?
Are we trying to fix the problem with the dam survey, when that gets done, and these grants we're working on, to fix our whole water system? I mean, it's gonna take time, and I know it's gonna take time. And I've been reading this, and I think that,
Harry, in specifics to this
I just don't think we have the monies in there to do when you do a debt ratio, and the diesel prices are outrageous, and so gas, I'm afraid we need to look at our budget, and I don't see there's no fluff, and we're already short one guy already on maintenance, again, but I think that we just don't have the money there. But I think it's something we need to put on the head burner of it, to look down the road, but I think it may be something before October or November for the next, that's just my opinion.
Okay. Mr. Cross?
Well, I fall somewhere in the middle. I think it's a necessary position. I think that we need more, I agree that Jim wears too many hats, but I also know that we worked really hard to get our debt ratio where it was supposed to be. And, you know, you take a salary and then you add another 25% to it, which is all the other stuff that goes with it, and it's significant. So right now, I'm kind of stuck right in the center.
Mr. Cook? Well, I agree to that. Anything else? Mr. Cross, or you?
Yes.
Mr. Cook, go ahead.
You know, I want to touch on something that both directors touched on, just its debt ratio. 4 years ago, I warned this board about the refinance and what was going to happen. I was the only one that voted against it, and this is why. You run your debt ratio up to the limit, oh, we can work on it. Now you're behind the 8 ball, you have got to bring somebody in that knows where you're at, and then break down these numbers and find a way around it. And that ain't happening the way it is now. This is going to take somebody that's going to sit there with computer owned, and every spreadsheet they can come up with to find every penny, find out where it's going, because you're not going to do it on debt. You're going to do it on grants and, income. And if you can't get the, income in the right position, you're not even gonna get the grants. So it has to be done sooner than later, because you're going to lose 2 to 2.5 more feet. The state has said it, and they've actually sent more documentation that we don't do anything. So we need to get off the stick and get it done, and the only way it's gonna get done, is get somebody in here that understands it. I yield.
Go ahead, Ron.
I looked at this and I agree, we do need someone in that position with the credentials. But to tag on to what Bob said, we didn't hit our debt ratio for many years. And that put us in a bad position. We did not, our bonds were downgraded before I got here. In order for us to go out for a refinance, we have to have reserves, which is what Bob and I talked about from many years ago, and build those reserves up. The couple people we talked to said we didn't have the financials to back up a refinance. We didn't have the reserves to back it up. So right now, looking at the water budget, if this position is just coming out of the water budget, $100,000 with a compensation package is 8% of the total budget for the water department. Right now, what is the unknown in our budget is capital expenses and outside service fees. We are over our outside service fees. We budgeted somewhere around $80,000. We've already spent it, and it's barely April. So whatever's coming in the next, 8 months, 6 months, we don't even have the money yet for that. And right now we're in an upside down position in the water department at $188,000. Now a lot of that is due to the bond payment, but that's also I don't know what else to say. I wish we had the money. I wish I could find the money in the budget. But a couple of things that have hit us hard in the last couple of years, insurance. Just like all of the properties here have increased, our valuations went up, our insurance went way up. Also the fuel, of course fuel, we all know that, and natural gas and inflation is hitting our budget hard right now. Plus we also have capital or construction in progress that we still owe $50,000 on that is not on these financials. It won't come until we finish the water project. We're gonna get probably another $76,000 in additional water revenue this year because I found that the dial issue, but $50,000 of that's gonna have to go to capital if we get the project, the third phase of the project for the water meters done. To me, it's just very tight. I wish we had the money. That's all.
Vaughn, just 1 minute. Vaughn, where'd that 8% come from? 8% of what?
Of the total budget for the water enterprise.
What are you considering budget for water enterprise?
Well, without the ARPA funds, without the 3.3 million, we're at 1.2 million. And if you take 100,000 divided by that, that's 8%.
Unless this year is well, you took the 3.3 million out of the 4.5 million. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to leave half of your budget woes. The position being created is not the water department. It's both water and wastewater. You have two enterprises combined here. So it's half as bad as you say it is, because you've got funds in both departments that will fund this position. I yield.
Other discussion?
So the only thing, if I may, the only thing I'd like to point out, and I I know you're not arguing against the position, you've already stated that you feel the position is necessary. We gotta figure something out, we gotta come up with a plan to do this, because we cannot continue to go down the road we're going down. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And we've pounded this horse into the ground for years now, and it's not working. And I don't want to lose another 2 to 3 feet on that dam. And we gotta get some type of a handle and control on this. And it's just gotta happen. One way or the other, we gotta find the money. I yield.
The ugly gorilla in the room here is, we still don't know what it costs us to provide a gallon of water to the customers.
We don't.
We don't know that. And it's quite likely, that right now, we're charging about half of what it costs us to provide a gallon of water to the customer. If that's the case, that's where the funding is. Now, I'm gonna hear from the audience and everybody else, but it's quite likely that we are going to have to raise rates. Now that, we can't not get this position in place. We're going to have to do it, whether we do it now or 6 months from now, it's gonna have to go in place, and it's not going to be any cheaper 6 months from now.
So, I know last year we were trending our revenues in sewer, we had extra money there. And right now in sewer versus last year, now this is fees billed, it doesn't mean collected, but we're at 217,000 versus 199,000 last year. If we keep that trend up, and I know you want this position filled right away, but if we keep up that trend, we could look maybe there.
Anybody else? Okay, let's move on.
CCAAC review.
Okay, we have, 2 houses and the patio cover that, the Architectural Advisory Committee is recommending that we approve. We have 5 first letters and 5 second letters to be sent out, and the advisory committee would recommend that we authorize. We have more than 5 first and seconds to go out, but we are trying to limit that to 10 a week or 10 a session, so that we don't just get overwhelmed and not be able to accomplish things. See, we had a couple things here that we need to address.
Yeah, it's on the bottom, right there under CCAC, the 4 things that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, the unauthorized structure?
In the waived meeting, having the regular meeting session.
Okay.
I just put them in there to remind you.
Okay. The Architects Advisory Committee needs guidance from the board as to authorizations of barn dominiums, how we can handle connexes, where we can get volunteers, and I guess as far as letters, are we ready to proceed with 3rd letters? Mainly though, barn dominiums and connex and where we can get volunteers. What is going to happen is that we are going to lose a board member that is also on the Architects Advisory Committee, and there's been 2 of us doing this lately, and one of us can't do it. It's going to take more than that. So we need to be able to get more volunteers involved.
Are you gonna stay on the Architectural Advisory Committee?
I shouldn't. I'd like to get it where we don't have to. Well, but it'll have to be authorized by the board. So we'll have to go through that process to do that.
So, Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Go ahead.
I think, as I spoke with you over tea, I don't want an official position there because I'm going to be on the other side of the table, which will be a conflict of interest at times. But I have offered to assist with, when I have the time. I have to rebuild my shop. I've taken 4 years of downtime that I need to start putting time back into, and I have offered, I can't do 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day like we've been
That's what it
doing.
takes.
And it does take that long, but I have offered that if I've got the time, or we can shift it to a different day, then I would be willing to assist.
Okay, thanks. So, barn dominiums. I have I get these different calls, different requests.
Can you please define a barn dominium for me?
A barn dominium basically is a metal barn that is finished on the inside for a residential. So what it is, it's a metal structure, it looks like a metal shop, and finished on the inside for residents. We have, as far as precedence, we have allowed metal buildings in Colorado City. We have one metal residence going up in Colorado City. The barn dominium is going to, what is, in fact, what these pictures show as a barn dominium outcast. It looks more like a modular, a metal-sided modular with a low pitch and no eaves. So it
Looks
kind of
like a
looks like a
barn.
modular. It looks like a barn. And it is used for residence. We need to have some guidance on that, and I think that Mr. Cook is going to say that we have, because of the precedence of allowing metal shops, pole barns, and metal shops, metal buildings, we have to consider that. Now, maybe it would help if we required a rock front or some kind of a veneer on the front. Just a minute, Jan.
Okay.
You have your hand.
Yeah, I would just like to address Mr. Cummings real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
And to the rest of the board. The barn dominium meets all IRC code, and it meets all Title 17. The only difference is, it's built intentionally to look like a barn, as the people that love barns, but it's fully architect, everything, 100% code.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jim.
I've seen some of them that they've come through, and I've told them when I was on the architectural committee that send pictures and the plans with it and let the committee look at it and see if it's something that can be done. It's like I talked to Neil in that there's a lot of them that they look like a house because they have, brick halfway up and, they make it look like it. I can understand the same aspect. I don't want somebody just putting in a barn out there that you don't have that exterior of looking like a house. So, and that's part of what your requirements for CCAC is color, shape, texture, placement. And so that's one of the concerns with it.
Harry?
I think they're pretty well built. Where I lived up north, we had straw houses, we had tire buildings. In the rough, when they look rough, they don't look like anything, but when they're done, my concern is what does it look like when it's done? If I can look at a picture and say, and give you, say, a year to get it done, not where it's an eyesore, but what's it gonna look like when it's done? If you look at that place and say, man, that's really a cool looking place. Yeah, those, I need more than that. But when I look at those, I'm saying, it needs to look like a house. With maybe long porches and long things here, and You can make it look pretty darn nice.
Well, and that's kind of what we're looking for from guidance from our Architects Advisory Committee is if, this gentleman is considering this barndominium and he has to buy it as a package. I think it's unwise for and he calls the Architects Advisory Committee, I think it's unwise to tell him, go ahead and buy the package and then send us the prints and that kind of stuff, because the board might not approve it.
But he could send us what he's gonna buy. That's not enough there.
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
Can't he send us like a,
You can stone veneer them, you can do lots of things with them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's going to look, when it's done, exactly like all the other metal buildings we've approved already.
But they
It
were
looks
houses.
like a metal building.
But those were houses.
No, but they're setting right beside houses. So if you've got this house and you put the barndominium, you still have one beside a house. It's no different than driving down the street. One guy has one, the next guy doesn't.
Okay. Would it be wise, or would it be considered of the board to consider that on residential houses, on residences, that would require some kind of a veneer on metal buildings as a residence? I'm not so sure that we're ready to decide on that, but that's coming up, so. Okay.
I'm gonna want some time to think about it.
And I think that we need to get input from, and probably not tonight, honestly, but we need to get input from the citizens as well.
One of the things too is, you know, a lot of your houses now rent to metal roofs, so, you know, it's taking that
Right.
texture out of it, so you're looking at it the same.
Okay, so, storage containers. We've run into trouble there. We need some guidance on storage containers. What are we going to expect out of storage containers?
What does Title 17 say?
That's what?
What does Title 17 say? What's the county control?
And I checked with planning and development, Pueblo County Planning and Development. They don't care. You can put up a storage container. It does go through regional building. It has to be approved by planning and development as setbacks, as an accessory structure. So what they're concerned is the setbacks and that it fits within the lot that.
It fits in the footprint with proper setbacks.
If it is over 200 square feet, then it has to, then they have to have permit from regional. And it has to, regional requires it put on a permanent foundation. Regional requires any storage container over 200 feet to have even stricter compliance than a pole barn. So they require a real foundation on it, whereas you don't have to on different sheds and things. So Pueblo County doesn't help us much there. Mr. Cook checked with Pueblo West as to how they handle it. They basically told him as long as it doesn't look like a box. Well, that's pretty nebulous. That doesn't help us.
So what, require a pitched roof and siding or what?
And to Mr. Cook's point there, he can explain that, kind of what's happened as far as the past. Go ahead.
Approximately 12 to 15 years ago, the architectural committee then set the precedent by approving one on blue spruce. They required a pitched roof and it be sided. And it's still there today. Now siding's going off, but that was how they made the determination at that point going forward. When we talked about the property, I believe it was Griswell, back in the wintertime when one had been moved in, this board came to the conclusion, as long as it doesn't look like a box, put a roof on it. And he said, well, how about a sloped roof? And the board agreed. It wasn't necessarily a gable roof or whatever, it's just that it was roofed and he had planned the roof with an overhang, so it had porch on it as well. Now he changed and decided to remove it and put in a tough shed type building, which I can understand why, but that was the precedent that this board set back in the wintertime was, we want it roofed. There was, discussion on siding, he had agreed to paint it, but we never set a precedent from the original, property on Blue Spruce being pitched and sided. We didn't make him do siding other than we requested that he make it the same color as the house. That's what the board decided then, but we're running into so many of them now, it's time to codify it to what you really want, so that we're not just telling people, hey, we don't know yet.
Discussion. Mr. Collins, what are you thinking?
I mean, just, so, as long as it ain't an old rusty ass container out there looking like crap, I'm not a big, I don't really care. I guess maybe require that it be the same color as the house and, put a roof on it. And the siding, I think, is a waste of time because the siding blows off, and how are you gonna, I mean.
That's board to determine.
That would be my suggestion anyways, that we probably just tell them, put a roof on it, paint it the same color as the house, and make it look good.
Mr. Kraus?
How do you codify it, covenant?
It's not the covenant. The covenant's already there. It's considered a structure under the covenant. We control color, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. We control the color, texture, and form of it. So, all we're trying, so that we're not back and forth every time, what does the board wish in the way of color he stated? Let's make it same in the house. Texture, well, if you don't want siding, is the steel okay? Form.
So it would exist as long as the board exists. And every
Yeah.
time the board changed, you run the risk that.
Not
We can
necessarily.
see
If you
it
make it as a
different.
resolution, then
You can
it's
still
coded
change.
into the,
Never change too. That is correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. But
It
it could
could
change
change.
anytime the board changes. The purpose of codifying a covenant is basically, defining, just a better definition. And that can be changed by the board.
that may not have been the proper.
But it won't affect anybody that's already done it though, because that's all gonna be
Right.
grandfathered.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Hochstetter?
I think a lot of those connexes are builder built and stick built, but I think it just needs not be an eyesore in the area where it blends in. And I think putting the roof on there, making the thing look different, I have no problem with that. Because they're very secure. I mean, you can lock those things up and people just can't get them like a lot of things they can get into.
We do, of course, run into the restrictions of Provo County as far as the
Yes.
signs. I mean,
Yeah.
we are aware of that. So, would it be acceptable to have it painted to make sure it cannot have the advertised outside, it can't have the shipping name on it. But it can be painted, and then when you say roof, that's pretty open-ended.
Yeah.
It has a roof now.
But it's not a box.
Yeah, but it's not a box.
It's not a box.
Put the roof on it, I mean, you could put we could say a pitched roof, just a pitched roof.
How about a flat roof with eaves?
A flat roof with eaves, something along in those lines. I mean, just something to make it look like it's not a railroad.
So
container.
basically that to make it not look like a box.
Yeah,
Pueblo
basically,
West.
Pueblo West, I mean.
Well,
Make it not look
one
like
of
a
the
box.
things I agree with you on the siding aspect of it, cause you start drilling it and
Yeah, just paint it, make it look
ruining
nice.
your structure of it. And you're also looking at, homes that are being built out of these too. I read multiple requests on that. That you need to send a picture to the CCAC, let them evaluate it, and also it has to go through, regional building in that aspect too, so, it's not just the Connex itself as a storage, people are using it for
building houses and stuff.
So what if we, it can't look like a box, it needs to be painted to coincide or to coordinate with the residents, and needs to have a roof with eaves.
So if I put a,
Doesn't look like a box.
so if I put a patio with a roof,
Yeah.
it would classify okay, because I don't have to have it on the top. As long as I have off the side, a roof, whatever.
It wouldn't look like a box.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Large for a box, huh?
Mr. Chairman,
I
just
would
to-
actually, I would like to get some input from the audience here. Let's be careful about limiting it. I don't want.
just to comment on that, so where does that issue rank against everything else you have on your plate right now?
Very low.
Yeah.
Other than the fact.
And we've spent 15 minutes talking about, should it be pitched, should it be a tent, should it be whatever?
Other than the fact that we
And-
spend way too much time on the architectural committee dealing with this stuff.
I
We
understand.
want to come up with some kind of help from the board, and
Okay.
then it'll be done, and we want, then it'll go real down on.
It's important to the people we want to build.
Well, I was just curious how it even ended up on the agenda.
Because we have to handle that
It's
stuff.
pretty low, in my opinion. But
We don't have authority, the architectural advisory committee does not have authority to approve or disapprove, so we want to make sure before we get to that point,
Okay.
that we haven't misled somebody. Mr. Cars, comment?
I'm 100% for these things, and another thing you guys need to look at, I go down to Arizona in the wintertime, and I have seen some Conex box homes that make my $300,000 home look like a piece of trash.
Okay.
But, you know, one thing you guys are gonna have to look at here real soon are tiny homes.
We are.
So I would recommend you guys start thinking about that too.
Again, priority issues.
Well, I know it's a low priority. I'm not saying it's a high priority.
That's correct, we do.
But it's okay if I came out tonight and said, okay, I've got a log cabinet at my house I'm building that I'm gonna move. If I wanted to move that out here in the country or out within the district here, or you know, it would classify as a tiny home. Am I going to get that approved?
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Let's move on.
may I quickly address that? Quickly. The tiny homes we can't address at this point. Pueblo County has in Title 17 their definition of residence, which includes a minimum 24-foot wall. So even the connexes, if you measure in this direction, you've got, even putting two together, it doesn't meet the 24. So you can square them or something, but like you say, the tiny home, we can't approve them. The covenant may be 750 square foot, but it's the 24-foot wall that we're running into. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Let's close the study session and open the regular meeting in Call City Metropolitan District at 6:53. If you all join, pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And join in a moment of silence if you so choose. Thank you. The minutes show that we have a full quorum, all board members present. Get approval of the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda for, May 10th.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. approve the minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the study session for April 26th, the regular meeting of April 26th, and the CCAC minutes of May 5th, 2022.
I'll second that, Mr.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Bills payable, go ahead, Jim.
Okay, section 4, you have bills payable.
Anything unusual here?
The only thing that was unusual was the backhoe. We finally got the bill on it to repair it. If you remember back in January, we had an issue where it totally went down. We were down for about 3 weeks with it. We finally were able to finally troubleshoot it out to the point that we got it fixed up, running, and this was a problem that happened 2 years ago or whatever, but it wasn't to this severity. I don't know whether they just put a Band-Aid on it, but now it is at the point where
Okay.
they got it.
As a bill, all right.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Don.
I have one on here that needs to be discussed, but I would like to hold it, for old business.
Okay.
During old business, you're going to pass the thing.
Yes.
I want to talk about a specific one.
All right. Can I get a motion to pay the bill?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
A second?
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Financial report?
Financial report, if you look under your blue section, you have, the standpipe is the first thing up. We're showing that it's at 0.027. We've, went over and adjusted a little bit last week. I believe we're back in line. I pulled up to a gentleman getting water tonight, and he had a 500-gallon tank, and it was real close, because he didn't fill up the whole 500-gallon tank. He left it, and it was at $11. So I couldn't really tell whether it was 20. He agreed with me that it was right up 500 gallons. On the next, you have our summary for 2022, and then 2022-21 is the next one. If you look at the numbers, we're in actually better shape than last year. In water, water, roads, admin, we are down, but that will be coming back. We've got excise tax in today. Recreation, you're up. Campground.
So what do you attribute the increase in water from?
There was, part of that was with the meters, and also last year we had the 2 trucks that were in the, when we bought the 2 new trucks, they went into last year's budget, whereas we don't have them in there, which that is $40,000.
Go ahead.
The rest of them is broke down by department as to percentage.
If I may.
So,
Mr. Cohen, go ahead.
What's going on with water? Yeah, it's $3,800 this year. It was $131,000 last year.
Which one, Rick?
Lottery,
So we don't have,
income summary.
we don't have the money from Provo County for Parks and Rec.
that's the CTF funds.
Yeah.
Was last year at this time, we about golf carts and stuff, of that 125 that we had. Well, this year, we don't have that, that's in our pool, and we're looking at doing our pool and pulling that money.
So we haven't received the money yet? Then?
No, we
Is that
just
the reason why
got,
it's not in?
we
Okay.
just got it as, it was granted to us, but with it being so short of a time to get it fixed, we figured it'd be better to fix it after the season in August when we shut down.
Gotcha.
We're looking at that.
Understood.
Okay?
The property management, where the dump truck was put in.
Do you understand that? The property management, the 3,896, that was where we took the money out of the, for the dump truck.
Gotcha.
That was that portion.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, next, operational reports. Holly dot maintenance, 0.6 of an inch water, rainfall collected in rain gauge from 410 to 5.6. 3 new T-boxes built in house, number 1, number 7, number 12 red. 2 new irrigation head installed wired for number 12. All T's rough graded and leveled, all existing heads leveled. Slide coming Thursday, May 12th, which will be Thursday. Fairways fertilized May 5th. 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square foot. Course mowing ramping up as weather improves. Course tree limbs picked up from past windstorms. Course irrigated. Course being irrigated as needed, avoiding cold temperatures and high winds. Front 9 system has been running fairly well. Still has some minor loose ends. A lot of shop work still going on in equipment. Parks and Rec operational report. Campground revenue for April 2022, $8,589.28. 2022 end of April, we have total of $31,061.20. Compared to last year, at the end of April, we had $28,874.91. We are dealing with some plumbing issues in the campground, and we'll be replacing a couple older faucets and shut-off valves going to the faucets. Park and Rec's baseball registration is closed. We will begin practicing this month. We have over 40 T-ball players and 3 coaches. We also have a T-ball team from Walsenburg participating in our league. I hope to include some games with Walsenburg Levita League where we can travel there and we will travel here. We have 14 kids signed up for 8 and under coach pitch and are hoping to find volunteers to coach this team. At the time I am writing this, I have reached out to everyone signed in hopes of finding a coach. If we can't secure a coach, we might be forced to cancel the coach pitch division. Pool cleanup is underway and we plan to start filling the pool on the 9th, which day out. If everything goes well, we will start up the pump, begin the chemical feed, and start heating the water this week as well. Administrator's report for 4/26 through 5/10. Done applications and loan documents being worked on with Mr. Graber for CCWD, which should be completed within the week. Working to get quotes for payroll for different vendors, just to get a cost estimate. That would be a backup for HR. Continuing to communicate as to a start date. See email and old business. Reviewing communication with dam inspection and reported back to Ms. Perry that the emergency dam was submitted last September after last inspection. Wrapping up audit with sewer and water audit should increase revenues. Election wrapping up. We'll be doing the canvas meeting on May 20th at 10 a.m. for the official totals. Continually answering phones, calls, drop-in visitors on property issues and covenant issues. Constant communication to residents through Facebook, and making website updates to date or answered if questions are asked. Seems to be another building boom with Provo West putting a moratorium, have had double the inquiries for property CCACC questions and service access for water and sewer. Might need to look at another tap increase. Completed communications with CDPHE and staying in line with compliance issues as well with our engineer to help with the issues over the last year. We'll continue to give quarterly updates to CDPHE. Waiting on quotes from Josh on a price for that pilot test we talked about last meeting. Grant class for infrastructure bill, revolving fund with the state today. I have some information that I need to contact some of the engineers from the state that we can go forward with that. Contacting the employees weekly and as needed to resolve issues, other ideas of solution of day-to-day operation. Still in communication with Neptune on getting the reports needed by the board. Have the reports in book for last month. Still have some issues with 3 to 4 meters, but at least they are identified and fixable. We'll have rep coming down the next couple of weeks. Lightning on Wednesday last week caused a communication problem with the water plant. RTC was called and was a connection with the Cat 5 plug from server to computer. Tanks are still staying full and plant running well. Water heater at golf course went out on Saturday, was able to get someone in to fix it. I went and picked up water heater myself so that we can, so they didn't have to close and we could get it replaced and keep them running. Lightning caused a problem with stem pipe, was able to get it back up and running to read credit cards. Okay, yeah, I'll put that in there. April water, wastewater, water report. The Beckwith plant produced 12.7 million gallons. Cold Springs 0, the plant is running smooth and is ready for summer months. Please note that chemical costs have nearly doubled in-house, and lab tests for DDP show a decline in both TTHMs and HA5s formations. We have the Serpro sample kit and we'll be pulling algae samples. Greg has found cracks and breaks in the ditch, the Hickland ditch. We will be moving forward to repair them. Both the South Park and Metro pool have been filled. A Square has calibrated all flow meters and recertified backflow preventers and have the right vault information getting sent to SCADA again. And completion of the tank for SCADA equipment to be online within the next 2 weeks. Fuel well crew to be starting in the next in the near future, 2 weeks. The wastewater plant treated 7.4 million gallons of waste. Basin 2 is not complete, still waiting on O-rings. The vac truck is back from the shop and was used to check and clean lines on Kenichi, Quail Court, and Cotton Camp. If you look at I put in a report, a water report. Billed water was 4,973,523 gallons. Standpipe used 198,516. So total water sold was 5,172 and 39 gallons. I know we're still up, we're still looking. I put in the CSV files. That's what you have for the backups here that is lined out, and for Cassell as to what each meter is using and getting totals to see if they match up as to from Neptune to Cassell. April Finance Department. Rate summary and board packet reflecting gallons billed for April and excludes any gallons resulting from leaks and flushing. I-9 training completed by Bev. Utility billing training proceeding for Christie, Cassell. Vector Solutions training in process for A, Stern training program. April utility building statement changes. A chairman at Chairman Elliott's request added the breakout of water portion of utility billing, of base charge and water usage calculation. Also, for new customer connect accounts, the charges are detailed for base amount prorated, noting number of days billed. Payroll area onboarding approximately 20 employees to start seasonal work. CTF lottery audit completed and updated to DOLA, corrected multiple errors on general ledger, payroll billing adjustments generated March 2022, CVS Excel files for Neptune Cassell for a comparison of gallons used from each software system, reviewed for inconsistencies on remote meters only. Result indicated that were approximately less than 10 discrepancies, 3 already self-identified down 9 accounts, 1 meter running backwards and rest gallons used do not match. Completed compensation package scenarios for new water sewer manager position for the board. 2023 payroll tax. Need this item on our radar to monitor forthcoming information from state of Colorado on next steps, and if the district can consider an opt-out position. Need a detailed business resumption plan for finance director at some point. Firewall replacement needed for RTC. Server replacement needed at the recommendation of executech personnel due to aging of equipment. Continue to modernize and streamline manual processes and reduce paper. AOS certification payment process to convert online from manual paper process after an audit. For water emergencies in July, district has collected $141,792.98 to date. Digitize old paper board meeting records as time permits. Online work ordering, training, and implementing target for July of 2022. AOS billing prep is pending on approximately 3,500 to 4,000 accounts. April billing, utility billing completed this week with fewer manual reads. If you look at the next 2 pages, and if you look down under your account balances, this is where they put the breakdown as to water usage and the price. And you have 2 examples there as to one that says a level 3, you have 5,000 gallons that would be charged at 0.00438 cents, which equals $21.90, and then they use 3,961 gallons, which is at tier 2, which would be 0.0057, which gives you a cost of $22.57, giving you a total of $44.48, which that breaks it out into the water as to why the price is at $71, because you have the base rate of $27.37, which is above that for the breakdown. So this was one of the things that was asked, if we could break it down more into a bill. Is that all right?
So which one are we using now?
Huh?
Which one of these are we using?
These are what went out the last.
Both of them?
Last, yeah. Yeah. We just gave you 2 different views as to somebody that was over the level 2 and which one was at level 2 or at level 1 and level 2.
Yes, the first one here went over level 1 into level 2, right?
Yeah, whereas the second one shows that they stayed under level 1, and that's what their
Base rate is.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay. Golf shop activities report as for 2022 month of April, memberships went to $8,439. Revenue in 2021 April revenue was $52,738, where this year April's was 50,812. Has had a good month, starting off, lost a few days to wind, but bounced back pretty quickly. Tournaments went good, had a few high school ones, a few bigger ones as well. We got our range picker working. We have new water jugs for the course as well. The one that Amy just gave you guys, utility operations report. Despite personal and supply related issues for the month of April, utilities accomplished a variety of goals set for the month. Due to supply issues, Basin 2 in the sewer plant sits at 99% complete. It will be back in operations upon receiving parts. Tank 4 reducer is nearly complete after digging the trench and laying conduit with power supply water as well as monitoring the control panel. Utilities completed 5 water sewer taps, including running an extended water service line to Douglas Way. All hands were on deck to help to remediate damage from severe winds that affected multiple departments. Utility had a record-breaking 1 water break for the month. This took place on Santa Fe Drive, and multiple sewer-related issues that led to the addition of 6,000 feet of sewer jetting. We had the completion of 1 road built, Gilpin, and will continue road operations upon acquiring more road base. Lastly, we ended up month with servicing vehicles and equipment and maintaining daily operations.
Comments, questions? Go ahead.
So back here on the wastewater stuff, and water plant, we basically produced 7 million more gallons than we sold, correct? A little over 7 million.
Yeah, that's what it's saying between the 2 reports, yeah.
And 7.4 million gallons of waste was processed. Just out of curiosity, what is, because I don't know this number, so I'm just asking, what is the average household per person waste produced?
Water is 110 gallons a day per person.
So about
National average.
about 3,300 gallons a month?
Yeah. And then your wastewater is 70% of use.
And how many houses are we taking care of up in Rye?
Probably 100 and some.
About 100 houses?
100, maybe 125 max.
Okay. And we still haven't found any, obviously, we still haven't found any major leaks.
No, sir.
They have
7 million gallons has just disappeared.
I know we had flushing when we were doing tests with, I know you called me, the two that called me about the person, flushing hydrant up at the.
No, it was me.
It was Bob. Oh, yeah, we flushed out for almost 2 hours to get that, but that's probably 500,000 gallons, so. You know, as for the one on Santa Fe, it was leaking for a while. There was a puddle. We finally got it fixed. So there, you know.
Was it a pretty big leak when you guys dug it up?
There was a break in the coupler, so.
Yeah, it was
decent.
Well, we'll know that though next month though,
Yeah.
whether that made a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're trying to stay on top of this, and whenever we do see something, try and dig it up and get it.
I yield.
Anybody else? I have something, I guess, to your point, the 12.7 million gallons, the 7.4 million gallons, and the 6 million gallons. That leak that was on Santa Fe is not going to make up 6 million gallons.
No.
An acceptable amount is 15%.
10.
And we're way off of that. So we still have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely.
I did have, to add to that, Dennis, Carnes, I've given him a map, and he's been riding around looking for leaks for us
Found
too.
Thank you.
Not yet. I will though.
Hopefully you
Thank
do.
you, thank you very much.
So,
You know, this board approved putting some meters on some main lines to gauge it. When's the first meter down there?
The main line.
The main line, so we can measure what's going down. When we gonna get that one?
I don't think we-
Jansen gonna put a wrap meter on?
We can, we thought you guys wanted to stop on it, that's why we stopped it. We have the meter at the water plant, we'll put it on next week. We just have to source electricity to it.
I thought Jansen was gonna do that.
like he does,
Jansen will do it.
he has
We have the meter at the plant right now.
that he can wrap right on the pipe and tell what's going through it.
So that is planned for next week?
He can plan it for next week.
Should it not be planned?
Well, it's up to you guys.
I thought we had already approved it.
Yeah, we already-
Yeah, we've already approved it as far as I know.
Okay.
Didn't get that. I didn't think it was
Do
approved.
you remember which meeting it was, Bob?
It's
About a year and a half ago.
I'll have to, I'll pull it up.
Let's do that. Okay, anything else, anybody?
That's 3 years.
All right. You be good statement. Statement of conduct and demeanor. In order for business of the board to be conducted in the most effective and expeditious manner, it is necessary that all persons present maintain a demeanor of civility toward the board, staff, and each other. Conduct that appears threatening or aggressive will not be tolerated. Shouting, speaking out of order, or the use of offensive gestures similarly are not acceptable. Such behavior shall constitute the forfeiture of your right to remain in attendance and may, as a point of order brought to the board's attention by council or any board member, including the chairperson, result in your being asked to leave the meeting by the chairperson or, upon your refusal, being escorted out of the meeting by the proper authority.
Okay, first on the list, Dennis.
Okay, I understand that you hired some organization to come in and find water leaks, is that true?
Yeah.
You never have?
No.
Okay,
Years ago, we did.
Yeah.
I've been doing some looking around and stuff, and I found this organization, it's palmerland.org. Palmerland Trust is a nonprofit organization, I guess, that has the ability to go out and find leaks and help cities or whatever with their water treatment and everything else. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I would recommend maybe you guys take a look at that
What was it called?
organization. It's Palmer Land Trust.
Okay.
Their website is palmerland.org. I know they went in Pueblo and helped them find leaks. They helped them pass their water safety things and all kinds of stuff, I guess, from what I hear. So I would like to recommend that you possibly, just something to look into.
Okay, thank you.
Get ready for your no answers here. I would like to recommend also that the community have a burn pile. With all the windstorms we've been having and everything. He's already smiling, saying no.
I know
I know of a lot of
I've been after
communities,
this for years.
a lot of communities, this is just like the ATV thing, but a lot of communities have community burn piles where the people can come and, put in their limbs and stuff up to a certain size, and then when it gets a certain size, the fire department for that city or whatever will go in and they will burn it and monitor it. But I think might be a good idea to something to look at. It's not a priority, but it's something, community service type thing. And the other thing, I probably shouldn't bring this up, but since I've been coming to the meetings, in over a year, except for when I was in Arizona in the wintertime, this statement of conduct and demeanor, I gotta tell you guys, the the board and employees here, you guys are the only ones that I have seen break that. And I'm not trying to embarrass anyone, I'm not calling anyone out, other than the whole organization as a whole. But I think if you're going to have a statement of conduct and demeanor, I think you guys need to be the first ones that abide by that. Because I have seen over the past year or so, a few times when we got in well, we didn't, but you got in shouting matches, which is against their conduct of demeanor thing. And nobody likes a good fight, better than me, but I always look at them as an opportunity to, win another battle, but there's a time and place for it. If you're going to have a discussion with somebody that's going to embarrass them, I would highly recommend that you do it in private.
Point well taken. Thank you.
I'll shut up now.
Who's next?
Okay, next I have, Bill, Kevin?
Yes, I just have curious questions. I just heard 33,000 gallons for sewer, but I started off paying, not getting a bill, but I started off paying $71 and some odd cents or whatever it is. Okay, I'm now paying $80 a month. I use less than 1,500 gallons a month, being by myself, but yet for the last 4 months I was charged 4,000 gallons of wastewater. I don't understand how that billing can be possible. And I was told it would be because of the prior owner. Well, I'm the first owner. So maybe are they basing it on the construction water usage, which that water was used for other homes as well? But I don't understand why I'm paying so much and why I'm being charged 4,000 gallons for 4 months to reserve it for when I water my grass, which I have a zero lot, I have nothing to water.
So we don't, as a board, I don't think we have the correct answer for that. If you would you contact the office?
I have, and they didn't, that's what they told me, this is the way it is. And I don't understand.
Then we need to, I will dig into that deeper and call you back on it. That's all. Let's figure this out. I will contact you. Did you leave your phone number?
No, it doesn't say to do that.
If you would, if you give me your phone number.
Okay, I just thought it was surprising, but I'm not doing it just for me, I'm doing it for 4 neighbors around where I live at.
Point taken.
Because they all just got a bill, and their water's been turned off for the last 4 months.
Yeah, we need to, I'll check you that.
Okay. Then the other question was, does this board or have anything to do with what's gonna happen with our post office?
No.
No?
She said there's some bids.
Okay.
Put it back up.
Who's next?
Okay, next I have Ed Rowan.
Just 1 minute. 1 minute. Go
That's
ahead.
me.
Hold on just a minute.
I've got a house over in Meadow Creek.
1 sec, sir.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and ask.
You said.
My
you
turn or
were
is it
being
his
billed
turn?
4,000, I just want to make sure I heard you right. Did you say you were being billed 4,000 gallons for waste?
For 4
How
months.
did we measure that?
Wait, I'll get it.
They do it as an estimate to what I'll use for the
It's a
summer.
percentage of what you
Okay,
do.
so they're estimating it.
But-
Thank you.
I will never use that amount, that's what don't make sense.
Sir?
Okay, I don't know when the new session starts with you guys. I appreciate what you do up there, spending your time and energy on the board. So just wanted to express my view on that. My question, when you talk to people in the area, or just if you would do a survey, obviously their concerns are gonna be around the utilities, not a lot of the minutiae that you've been over with this evening. And principally water quality, and we get pretty good reports on that. What we don't find out about though is the water supply issue. And I would like to know, for example, how many permits were issued for water taps in 20 and 21 and what we're doing so far this year, because there's been a lot of building in the area. And the other thing I'd like to know is, do you have any concerns whatever about issuing these permits with the supply of water that we're in the middle of a drought right now, and it's not getting any better, obviously. You've got this water loss issue, you've got this dam issue, you've got all these water issues relative to supply, and yet you keep issuing permits. Is there any intent to try to slow that down? I know there's a conflict of interest, you generate revenue,
I think I've heard something about the tap fee may be going up, which I think would be a good idea if there's a way to discourage the construction in the area right now and the water usage. But is there any concern with you guys about that issue? Are you going to do anything about it?
I think yes. One of the big gorillas that I think that you probably heard about was the loss of water. If we were not losing
I did
water,
just hear 7 million gallons in a month, yeah.
if we were not losing water, we'd have plenty of water. And we are looking at storage issues as well as water supply issues. As far as actually being an imminent issue, as far as restricting growth at this point, I think the board pretty much is taking the position we are not at that point.
Well, you got awful close to it with people taking showers over at Ace Hardware. And, you know, what the lake looked like year before last was down to puddle status. There's not much room for error with the leakage. Why not hold up until you get these issues resolved? Because you're operating on a very, very narrow supply basis right now. And like I said, I know there's a conflict of interest because you generate income. You've got some of that built into your budget, but it just makes logical sense to hold up on permits until you get these water supply issues fixed, because you're risking a crisis, in my opinion. And that's not just my opinion; it's a lot of people in Colorado City feel that way. We've had people actually sell their houses because they're concerned about what you guys are doing relative to water supply.
Can I give my opinion on that?
Can I just ask a quick question to Jim?
Mr.
Is there?
Hold on, sir.
Oh.
Mr. Collins, go ahead.
So just to give you, and this is only my opinion, I can't speak for the board, okay? We've got several problems here, and to narrow it down to people building a house is our problem, is not the problem. Okay,
It is if you don't have the water supply.
No, we've got plenty of water. Our problem is, and we've got plenty of wells pumping water. We've got water rights that we're not even using.
I know that.
Because we don't have the storage for it.
Right.
Okay? And we gotta get grants to fix all of this, and part of the money that we're going to get to match those grants is coming from those water taps. We don't have the water taps, we don't have the money to match those grants. They're not gonna give us grant money unless we have money to match it. Or even part of it. We might not have to match the whole thing, but we're gonna have to have part of it.
Okay, we could get into quite a discussion.
Yeah, and this is a long, faceted discussion, but to blame it on one thing is totally inaccurate.
It would be a long discussion that we really don't have time for in the meeting, but I think any of us board members would be willing to talk to you about it. We're absolutely willing to discuss that with you.
A couple other questions. The website has no information.
Yeah, I know.
You guys are talking about transparency. I saw that as one of the principles. You go out to the website, it's all old data. It's water restrictions from 21 is basically, except for this meeting, is the latest thing that's out there. I'd like to see a financial recap, not all the necessary detail, but I'd like to see the money that's coming in, where it's coming from. He just did a report. He had his I've got a financial background. He had his operational report mixed up with his financial report. He's got revenue streams coming in off the operational report that's not on your financial report. Why not do some kind of a simple recap so citizens can see what's going on relative to the money coming in, money going out, revenue streams, just your basic financial information that, I don't know if you got an accountant available, but he could whip it up in about 10 minutes to inform your citizenry out there that wants to know what's going on.
All right, point taken. We will address that too.
And just one more opinion. I just wonder, this utility manager issue is really a management issue, or is it a personnel issue? I'll just shut up on that and let you think about that, but I think you're getting the two things confused in your discussion.
Thanks. Who's next, Jim?
Sharon Adams.
Hi, I've been in the middle of a 22-year-old battle between the city and the county as far as my road is concerned. And I just don't want to play anymore. Probably in 22 years, I've had it plowed by the city probably 3 or 4 times. County's done it a couple times. But it's not even that. It's every time I mention it, like I was just in the office a couple weeks ago and I asked somebody, give me a call about this, left my phone number, I heard nothing. And 22 years ago when we first built our house, I went through the same thing. I would call the office and I'd say, I need this, we'd like a road, please. You know, but the county says, it's Chavano Road. Does everybody know where that is? It's right off Colorado Boulevard. And then you go by the Scott's house, and then it makes that curve back to our house. Well, they don't go, nobody goes any further than that curve. They dump the snow right there, and that's it. And nobody's ever built us a road. And I was at a meeting a couple weeks ago, and I was told that the city is supposed to build a road when somebody builds a house. 22 years later, we don't have a road. What we do have is a single lane dirt thing that we built ourselves. And we had some gravel brought in. I just want to know, I don't understand why I'm not getting an answer.
So, if you would, did you leave your address?
I left my phone number.
Okay.
I don't know if I left my address or not. Did you get the message?
Quickly, just quickly.
Did anybody get a message?
I didn't.
Well, there you go.
There we go. It's lost communication.
Yeah. For 22 years.
Give me, well, within the last week or two.
Okay,
give me.
Yeah.
Bob,
I'll read the information.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you'll come over and check this paper on the wall, there is a road list.
Oh.
If your road is listed on this over here, it is mandated to be served by the Metro. If it is not, go to Pueblo County 583-6040 and find out if your road is listed there. If it is listed there, you use the same phone number and they're mandated to service.
Right, but you're not understanding my problem. My problem is that the city says that's the county's problem. County says that's the city's problem.
They're listed here.
That's your list, but if you go to the county, they'll say that's not theirs, it's yours.
That's what I say, you have to determine, to get the two lists. Get the two lists, and if there's a conflict in the list, bring it down here, this board can mandate the maintenance for you if there's a conflict in the list. So you need both lists.
Where do I get the list from the?
583-6040 and right there.
I did the same thing for Moscow Place, and the county says,
Bring the list
but
down.
it's not marked as yours, so when I asked about it, they said it's not yours either.
all right, if you leave us your phone number and addresses, we as a board will.
I would like somebody just to look into this for me, yes,
we will.
please.
Make sure we have your phone number.
I mean, I'm about ready to sell and move now, so.
Okay. Who's next?
That's it.
Okay.
So, Jim, I just had a comment, if I could. I know you guys probably want to get out of here.
Was it something you already brought, that's already been brought up?
Yes and no. Just to comment about the water, this gentleman in front of me, you know, we've only lived here 4 months, right? But I've owned the property for 6 years, so I'm well aware of the water concerns in this area. But, you know, in my mind, water should be like the top issue for the whole community. I mean, if you don't have clean water, if you don't have a stable source, you know.
Okay, point taken, so we've already discussed that. We've got to move on here. Okay. Ladies, you didn't sign up. Did you have, do you have an attorney's report?
I did get information from the water attorney. Our due diligence is done with. We're good up until 28, I believe. I just got the report in yesterday.
Mr. Chairman. What's the rest of the attorney's report?
That, I just got it in yesterday.
What about the, water theft?
He's
Have you
looking
called?
into it. I asked him, I said, these are the, because I found some other documents downstairs in the basement, and I wanted him to check it out through, whether they were deeded, because this was just handwritten on the wall that it's on this page, this section. I want to make sure that we have that documentation. So he's pulling that up for the water.
Okay. Anything else? Alright, let's move on to agenda items then.
Agenda items, we have utility director, discussion action.
Should I just make a motion to accept this with these changes?
I think it needs to be, oh, yes, a little bit more, we find that other places in there. But we,
I kind of figured that that would cover it, but
It's in numerous places.
it's good. So should we table this?
I think we need to.
Okay. I guess I make a motion at this time that we table this till next meeting, so that we can, get the proper edits in place.
What is that?
I second.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
if you're gonna do this, you need to do it. You can make your edits, you can leave it open and have it, reaffirmed as needed. But just putting it off and putting it off is getting.
I don't wanna put it off, but you have all the edits already figured out.
No, I
If
don't.
you've got them- if you've got them
I've
figured
marked
out, I'll
off the
withdraw.
problems, but I don't have the edits. I'm saying go ahead and approve the position, bring back your edits so that you can move forward. You really need to post it anyway. So, that can be one, with approved edits, to be confirmed.
I'll withdraw my motion. So how would you word the motion then?
I'm going to leave that one to you because this is my last meeting and you wouldn't like the way I said it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion at this time then that, we approve the position and finalize the edits next week. That way we can get applications, or we can start receiving applications.
I will second said motion.
Moved and seconded, discussion? All right.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
so, like I said earlier, I'm kind of stuck in the middle. Are we certain, and you guys, most of you know a lot more about the licensing than I do, are we certain that we have to keep the salary range that we have on
For a licensed individual, I'm not too certain we're gonna even get one application at the salary range we put out there, my opinion. But start low, we can always go up, but we can't even find the money for this, or we're gonna have a hard time finding the money for this.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah,
No,
question?
I'd like to ask you, Mr. Krause.
Go ahead.
I did look on the, major site that lists those qualifications and people that were seeking jobs and the, applicants, both directions, and that 75 is minimum. Thank you, I yield.
So I guess as far as the discussion about the motion, if we don't have a job description, what is somebody gonna apply for?
So the only thing that we've gotta change in these job descriptions is just some wording. Basically some wording that was put in, making the position under the district manager, which that's not going to be the case. That's the only thing I've seen anyway. There may be something else that you guys seen, but this position is going to be independent of the district manager, and he or she is only going to report to the board. It's going to be an independent supervisory position, reporting directly to the board for water and sewer.
Jim?
The only issue, and I understand where you're coming from with that, Greg. The only issue is it should be part of the management team. Because finances should be involved in it. Manager, just given that. That would be the three to bring it to the board and say, here it is. But yeah, he's gonna report to the board, but you know, when it comes to anything that is gonna be budgetary or fixes or anything.
He's gonna have to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Because like, this is the part that I changed on the first half, okay? They were telling me there's several other in there. But it says works under the direction of the district manager and district board as a salary exempt position. I changed it to work under the direction of the district board and in cooperation with the district manager. Because he is not working under the district manager, he will be working in cooperation with him. That was just one example of one that I changed.
Barry?
I do not feel comfortable approving a position we don't know what the qualifications are yet. And I think we need to go through that and make the changes, and in the next meeting, go through it, because I can see some issues there, really big issues with existing staff out there and salaries and stuff. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we might be opening a can of worms. But I think that needs to be, if you don't have a job description and what you expect them to do, and we're voting on the position, to me, that's bass backwards.
Okay. So we have a full job description. We were all given this on Thursday, every one of us, okay? And there's a full job description here. I don't want to change, this is just me. I don't know what the rest of the board wants to do, but I don't want to change anything on the job description. All I want to do is make sure that it is clearly spelled out in here that he is responsible. I don't want the buck to go to Jim. If something screws up with that water plant, it ain't Jim's fault. It's the manager of the utilities department's fault. Okay, he reports to us. He doesn't report to Jim. He's gonna have to work in cooperation with Jim. They're both gonna have to work together. And they're gonna have to work in cooperation with our finance director also.
So you need to word that, I mean, it's a team.
It is. That's the reason why I put it in there, in cooperation with.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, you don't want to, we have a city manager. If you get another person, that person, if it's not a well-oiled machine and something's not right,
Okay.
and somebody's not communicating, I mean, the communication has to be there. And I don't know if that says that, but I don't know how to word that, because I haven't, I'll have to look at it again.
It'd be poor communication if you don't know how to do it.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak to that.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Go ahead.
The reason we're doing this is a email from the state. Compliance plan was issued because the Metro District has taken no action to repair the dam in over 10 years. We encourage you not to delay any longer. And it's not just the dam, it's the water quality that goes with it. That's just one department. Thank you, I yield.
Anybody else? So your motion is to,
Approve the position, pending some changes which will be approved at the next meeting. And start gathering, put it out to start gathering applications. And all the qualifications, as far as I know, we'll approve the qualifications, we'll approve everything here. The only thing that I would suggest that we change would be the wording of how the district manager and the utilities manager works together.
How are you gonna make that as a motion? This is already made.
Yeah.
That's
So,
coming.
yeah,
Made
I
and
made it.
seconded.
We'll have a second. You have it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you say? Okay.
We're in discussion.
Any more discussion? All right, let's go. Mr. Cook, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
I'm sorry, vote short.
Yes.
Mr. Hawkshaw?
I'll vote yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay. Old business.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on to old business, do we need an official change of the meeting date, or can you just decree that on the
Yeah.
24th meeting?
Well, I think that what we do is we call the special
Mr.
meeting
Chairman, I make a motion to change the meeting date.
I'll second it.
to just this month,
Yeah, just this.
to the 24th.
24th.
Okay, moving and second, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. Old business?
Like I said, been using, Pueblo West's attorney for the covenants issues if we haven't. I don't know how much you've used it, Neil.
I haven't.
Okay. I've been working with him on a couple of issues that we have going on. Applewood Park, like I said, we're waiting for, gravel, cameras for the plants. I did look up and I have a place that they are putting them in. I wanna go check it out before I order them for our plant, but I will get them up and in, hopefully within a month. Water loss update, like I said, we've been, looking, searching, we've done dials. Dennis is out helping us, we're at that point. Do well, I sent the email that I got from Richard stating that after the last meeting, he said he'd be here in 2 to 3 weeks. I stopped with him, I'll give him a call in the morning again. To find out.
Other old business?
So, question real quick.
Go ahead, Mr. Collins.
On the gravel issue.
Yes.
So I know that we're almost out of gravel over there at the pit.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually don't call my cousin for anything, but he happens to own the
Mr.
largest
Chairman?
gravel pit in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So I might be able to get him to donate some gravel to us. But
Okay.
can you please, let me know what type of gravel you need, and I'll make that phone call. Okay, and we can probably get it. He's a very generous person, I'm sure he will.
Okay.
But I need to know what type of gravel.
Information.
Okay?
I'm fixing to expand on gravel if you would allow me.
I yield.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. First off, I pulled our contract with the county, which I opposed last year or so when we did this. And you're giving away your gravel at $1 a ton. But there's a clause in the contract right here. If district determines in its reasonable discretion that it needs gravel, sand or rock from the pit to perform maintenance of the district facilities quicker than the county is able to provide the same, the district can extract the gravel on its own. Not a problem. Up here, district shall provide written notice to the county in the amount of gravel it needs in 30 days. Did you provide written notice that you needed gravel? We've talked about this for a month now.
No, I didn't.
So, we haven't even applied for the gravel. And this is what perturbs me. We've worked on this, that's been going on for 6 years now. Right here in your financials tonight, 50 tons of infill for the other part. Now, you can fix the ball field, but you can't finish a project that's been going on for 6 years. because you don't have the gravel when you have a contract for gravel and you're buying gravel. That's BS. I yield.
You work with Mr. Collins on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Could I clear that up? That is clay for the infield of the ballpark. It is not gravel.
Okay.
$3,600, $3,300. You could have bought gravel
All right,
for
let's
that
move
park.
on.
I'm not done with the old business. Speaking of the park, what'd you do about the lot 70 and lot 71?
71.
Have you filed for eminent domain on those two lots?
Yes, I have it done to the surveyor.
I didn't ask if you surveyed it. Have you filed for eminent domain?
No, I haven't.
Why?
I don't
You
know why.
can't erase the covenants with a survey. The covenants right now, you're in breach of. I'll bring that up in the covenant section. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Is that it for old business? New business? Yeah, new business?
There's nothing listed, Coach, so it can be tabled to the next meeting, there's nothing listed.
I'm sorry, what?
Our agenda says there's nothing on new business
Right.
for us to discuss.
Okay. CCACs. All right, so we are at new construction. 4760 Moscow Place, 5851 Lakeview Circle, and 3166 Armstrong Court.
Are any of these?
No.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
An emotion?
And a motion for,
I'll give you a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the two houses and the patio cover.
for this second.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Let's vote. Mr. Cook?
No.
Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Kraus?
Yes.
Ms. Toxteller?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. First and second letters.
So you have 5 first and 5 second.
Right. Did we get copies of the spreadsheet?
Yes, they're under your white section in the back folder.
Okay, so this is the spreadsheet for the CCAC. The first and second letters are the check marks. Those are the ones we need approval on.
These are, so the ones here that got your checks here
Right.
are the letters?
Right.
Like the no RV boat, no residence and stuff like that?
Correct.
Okay.
I make a motion that we send out the 5 first letters and 5 second letters as presented by the CCAC committee.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Move to second discussion?
Yes, I got one quick question. The house demolished,
Yes.
what exactly does that
It's
mean?
an abandoned house, it used to be.
Oh, it's abandoned and
Yes.
fallen down and has it, okay, that's all I was wondering.
Mr. Chairman, while you're discussing sending out letters to people in violation of covenants, and you're approving new bills, your letter says you're gonna give them 15 days. I hereby give you 15 days to cure your violation of lot 70 and lot 71 of unit 20. The manager has allowed ingress egress across lot 70 and has constructed part of the playground onto lot 71. Both have covenants. We've talked about this for a year. It was instructed to be done. On top of that, you can have your notice to cease and desist that you hand out. Either do your own house and stop this, or take care of everything. I officially put that in the record.
All right, in the record.
We don't expect that.
No. Okay, that's in the record. So, let's vote on the letters.
So, Mr. Chairman, was Mr. Cook's motion an addendum to
No,
the
that's
motion?
not.
Because the original person who
I
made the
think the
motion
motion-
would have to.
No, it's not a motion.
It's a directive.
Just the records.
I'm fine with that, but it
Yeah.
has to be accepted by the person who made the original motion.
This is an action that we, a complaint action we need to take. All right, on to letters. Let's vote on the letters.
I vote yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
No.
Chair votes yes. Okay. Correspondence.
Correspondence, we had a letter to the Board of Directors, Colorado City Metro District, from Colorado City pickleball players, reference Josh Briggs and staff. We are a small group of pickleball players, about 20 strong here in Colorado City, that are a growing group that accommodates all ages and recreational abilities. We wish to express our appreciation and our high regards to Josh Briggs, Park and Rec Director, and his staff. We realize that Josh and his employees have many responsibilities and that he has to coordinate and facilitate many various size groups and activities for all ages in our area. The Park and Rec Department employees seem to work hand in hand in maintaining outdoor facilities, the park, the pool, and so many other areas. But Josh and his staff of workers have always tried hard to help our group of players as well, regardless of their other duties. Josh has scheduled times and coordinated pickleball play areas, both indoors and out, which allow us to continue to play pickleball in Colorado City year-round. Josh does a great job of maintaining lines of communication. He stops by for a brief visit on occasion to see how the group is doing and asks about our needs or possible issues that he might be able to mitigate. We realize that as a group we are probably not one of Josh's major concerns, but we do appreciate all the effort, time, and consideration he has given us, and we hope that both the Colorado City Metro District Board and Josh's immediate supervisor realizes that they have quality, professional, dedicated employees in Mr. Briggs. Sincerely, Lee and Kathy Nevy, coordinator of Colorado City pickleball, as well as all the other pickleball players within the group.
That's something.
Pickleball's big.
No, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
we are still in correspondence.
Okay, more correspondence?
Yes, we do. I'll ask that it be read by the chairman. This is the first part, that the last part continues. Again, time after time, the manager refuses to put the correspondence in. This is extremely important for everybody out here that's talking about water and other issues. Mr. Eckert, if you can't do the job, you should quit. Mr. Chairman, I yield to you.
I make a motion for adjournment.
We do have correspondence here. I need to address this.
That is addressed to the board.
Jim, I have a email here from Mark Perry. Email from you to Mark Perry, and an email back from Mark Perry to you, and to the Colorado City Metro District Board and District Manager. The correspondence in the reference during the meeting is the correspondence from Mr. Perry to Colorado City Metro District Board and District Manager. The subject is Beckwith Dam. The State Engineer's Office Colorado Dam Safety Annual Inspection of Beckwith Dam was performed on April 14th, 2022 with their district staff in accordance with CRS 37-87-107, which assigns the state engineer the responsibility to determine the safe storage level for all dams in the state. Please review the attached report and sign and return the signature page. The state engineer's dam safety compliance plan dated October 9th, 2021 is also attached for your reference. The state engineer issued a 1-foot storage restriction on the dam. The attached compliance plan lays out actions that must be completed by the Metro District in order to avoid further restrictions. The compliance plan was issued because the Metro District has not taken action to repair the dam in over 10 years. We encourage you to not delay action any longer. Please work with your engineering consultant and with CWCB on possible grant and loan funding and to develop plans and specifications for construction repairs to the dam. Your district manager may wish to work with Pueblo County to have the dam added to their hazard mitigation plan, which may make the dam eligible for FEMA funding in the future. Please do not hesitate to contact me with questions. We appreciate your efforts to improve the safety of Beckwith Dam. Sincerely, Mark. Mark A. Perry, PE, Dam Safety Engineer, Colorado Dam Safety.
So we're doing that.
That is an issue.
That is an issue, but we're addressing that with the dam survey.
The issue.
I mean, it's been happening for 10 years.
Mr. Hochschild, the issue is the correspondence.
Well.
It should have been in a correspondence package.
Okay.
The issue with the dam, of course, is serious. We've already discussed that.
And we're on top of that.
The fact that this was not included in our correspondence is
That was my fault. I put in the dam report as to.
Yes, you did.
The report as to.
No, I think
And I should probably put the email in with that dam report.
yes, all correspondence
Okay.
should be included within our packet.
Okay.
Anything else?
Make motion for the adjournment.
I'll second it.
Move to second. Any problem with adjournment? We're adjourned.